Nobody wakes up one morning and decides to respect you less. It happens so quietly. Most people never realize it's already happening. One day people naturally look toward you when something matters. Then, without any argument, without any warning, they stop looking in your direction when decisions are made. Nobody tells you why. Nobody announces it. Life simply keeps moving, without waiting for your opinion. The most painful part, the person losing respect, is almost always the last one to notice. Because respect doesn't vanish overnight. It leaks away through ordinary conversations, one tiny behavior at a time. A joke you laugh at just to fit in. An apology nobody asked for. A promise you break to yourself because saying no feels uncomfortable. None of those moments feel important while they're happening. But together, they quietly teach people exactly how to treat you. Today we're exposing 5 behaviors that do exactly that. And chances are, at least one of them has already become part of your daily life. Most people believe respect is earned by always being available. So they answer every call, accept every favor, drop their own plans the moment someone asks for help. At first, people genuinely appreciate it. You become the reliable one, the dependable one, the person everyone can count on. But then something invisible happens. The human brain quietly turns repeated generosity into expectation. Imagine someone who skips their evening workout. Again, because a coworker sends another quick favor. The first few times, everyone says, "You're amazing." Months later, nobody thanks them anymore. They simply assume they'll say yes. That's how respect quietly changes. People rarely value what costs them nothing. The people who earn the deepest respect aren't selfish. They're simply willing to protect their own priorities. Because every time you abandon your own life for someone else's convenience, you unintentionally teach them your life comes second too. So here's the uncomfortable question. How often have you disappointed yourself just to avoid disappointing someone else? Have you ever watched someone apologize, then explain, then apologize again, even though nobody blamed them? It happens more often than we realize. Someone arrives 5 minutes late. Instead of saying, "Sorry I'm late," they begin telling a 3-minute story. Traffic, parking, coffee, the weather, every tiny detail. Not because anyone asked, because they assume they must earn the right to be believed. Here's what's fascinating. The more desperately you explain yourself, the more people unconsciously wonder why you're trying so hard. Confident people don't feel the need to fill every silence. They tell the truth, then let the silence speak for them. Certainty is often mistaken for competence. That's why calm answers usually carry more weight than perfect explanations. But surprisingly, the next behavior begins long before you even open your mouth. Some people slowly disappear, without ever leaving the room. Not because others ignore them, because they've learned to ignore themselves first. They achieve something meaningful, then immediately say, "It wasn't a big deal. I just got lucky. Anyone could have done it." At first, it sounds humble, but every time you shrink yourself, people unconsciously adjust their picture of you. Eventually, the smaller version becomes the only version they remember. And when you've believed that smaller version of yourself for long enough, another habit quietly begins to grow. You stop looking for change. You start repeating the same story instead. Think about someone who's been talking about the exact same problem for years. Every few weeks, the conversation somehow circles back to it. At first, people listen. Then they offer advice. Then something heartbreaking happens. One day they stop offering advice because they've realized nothing is ever going to change. People don't lose respect because life is difficult. They lose respect when effort quietly disappears. Growth, even tiny growth, always earns more respect than endless explanation. So ask yourself, when people think about your life, do they picture someone becoming stronger or someone replaying yesterday? The final behavior looks harmless. In fact, most people mistake it for being easy to like. You agree with whoever you're talking to, not because your opinion changed, because conflict feels uncomfortable. Little by little, people stop knowing who you really are, because every room meets a different version of you. Respect doesn't come from making everyone comfortable. It comes from making people certain about who you are. The most respected people aren't always the smartest, or the funniest, or the loudest. People trust consistency more than charisma, because consistency tells people they never have to guess who you are. And trust grows wherever guessing disappears. Here's the truth. People almost never decide to stop respecting someone. They simply absorb hundreds of tiny signals. Until one day, they stop asking for their opinion, stop relying on them, stop noticing when they speak. The good news: every behavior you've seen today can change. Not next year, not next month, with your very next conversation. So before you leave, which of these 5 behaviors have you caught yourself doing this week? Write the number or the habit in the comments, because recognizing it is the first moment respect starts coming back.